Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Silver Savage podcast. I'm actually in my studio for a change, so I'm pretty excited about being here. And I have my coffee, even though it's in a Maker's Mark mug, because I have to represent. And again, just a shameless plug, if you work for Maker's Mark, consider sponsoring me. Just saying. But anyways, this is going to be hopefully one of my last solo podcast for the next few weeks, as I have a bunch of cool guests coming on board, scheduled for interviews. So I'm going to start dropping those after this one. So I am excited to share the information that I want to share with you today, but I'm also excited to share with my guests with you in the next few weeks. But this one is kind of special for me just because it is a question that came up by a lot of people recently. And eventually I just told one of those, I'm like, hold on, I get this question a lot. Let me see if I can just make a podcast about it, because it's something that I've dealt with in the past and to some extent still deal with on a fairly regular basis. I want to make sure that I give everybody the information they're looking for. So today we're going to be talking about burnout. All right, so burnout, right? So we all deal with it, and the reality is that it is my mind, or my opinion, just as it is on a lot of other things, that prevention beats reaction any day of the week. So if I can prevent burning out to begin with, I'm certainly better off than having to deal with it once it sets in. Because burnout it's not fun, right? It is a lot of stress. It manifests itself in potential physical ailments such as headaches, cardiac issues, blood pressure issues, but certainly mentality, fatigue, inability to concentrate, not getting our utmost and best product out there. And honestly, nobody benefits, certainly not myself, but also not my customers, and not my family, my closer circles, because then I get the full me, then I get the 100% that I'm capable of being, just because I cannot show up to that extent. So preventing getting there to begin with is always the key. Now, assuming that you already are at a point where you feel that you burned out, certainly seek professional advice and assistance. So this is one of those things. Can you get out of it on your own? 100%. I've done it in the past. But the reality is that if you're so far into feeling that you just can't cope with things anymore and you're overwhelmed, then maybe seeking professional assistance is beneficial. So not necessarily talking about a shrink or psychiatrist, but also just medical help. Maybe it's just taking something to relax you, or maybe it is calling a friend or take a vacation, right, with somebody else. But certainly don't try to do it on your own if you don't think that you are capable of doing so. Because obviously you got to this point for a reason, which tells me that you weren't able to deal with it in advance. Then what makes you believe that you can deal with it now once it's already set on? So that is if I cannot prevent it. But if I can take some steps proactively to prevent getting to a point of burnout to begin with, then obviously it's a win for everybody around. I show up better, I can produce better, I can be myself better, I'm feeling better. So everything is just better, right? So let's break it down. What are some things that we can do? So first of all, on the day-to-day basis, just take breaks. I know it sounds stupid, it sounds almost too benign, but the reality is that we don't do it enough. I am very fortunate that my work environment is at a gym, and I also have several different tasks throughout the day. So I can take breaks to go work out and get back into my tasks, but I also, my day is broken up by administrative tasks, but then teaching a class and then some more administrative tasks. So I have those breaks kind of built in for me. So I am definitely fortunate when it comes to that. But even if I don't, there are just days that there's a lot of administrative stuff I gotta pick up. There's a lot of work that's been kind of building up, and I just need to tackle it all in one day. And if in those days, if I don't actually take the time to take pre-planned breaks throughout the day, I'm gonna feel it by the end of the day. I'm gonna be super fatigued, and as the day progresses, I'm probably not gonna be doing as good of a job. So building those breaks is important. About I hear different numbers. For me, what works best is about every 30 to 45 minutes is I'm going to take a 10-minute break. But those 30 to 45 minutes, I'm fully focused at the task I have to do. I wear earpods in case I'm in an environment where there's other people around me and I don't want to be interrupted. When I work. But then when I take the break, earpods come off, I can interact with other people, I can check social media. That is the time where I'm not thinking about work, right? So the goal is to give my brain a break from what it's been doing before, and then after 15 minutes or so, get back into it. So breaks is the first thing I can do. The second thing I already alluded to is exercise. Obviously, I talk about it a lot, but exercise is not just for my body, it's also for my brain. It releases a bunch of endorphins, right? There's a bunch of good hormones, the feel good hormones, dopamine and so forth that really get me going in the sense of getting me motivated and energized. But it also allows my brain to cope with longer periods of concentrated effort. And what I mean by that is if I have a better cardiovascular system, if I have better muscle endurance, my ability to just stand or sit or type certainly increases. We don't think about it, but even those activities require stamina. When I teach dignity and protection, I always tell people we start a class every morning with PT. And people ask me, why do we do PT every morning? And I say, because you have no idea how tasking it is to just stand there for 8 to 10 hours and watch your principal and be able to maintain mental acuity, to still maintain situational awareness and be able to be proactive and prevent any issues from happening or respond if needed. So physical fitness is everything. So take it down to exercise. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, you don't have to be a stud. We did a whole podcast about it last week about training and exercise and conditioning. I'm not going to get into all of that. Just do something. Move your body. The benefits of physical exercise to your mental acuity and preventing burnout is immense. The other thing is meditation. We talked about that in the past as well. You know, my brain races 110 miles per hour all the time. We live in a very fast-paced society and environment. We're always bombarded by information from media, being social media, written media, TVs, you know, people talking to us. We got into the habit that if somebody texts us or email us, we have to respond immediately. So our brain is going, 100 different directions all the time, and it's always processing information, and at no point does it have a pause button. And if we don't control that, then that will obviously lead to burnout. That is mental fatigue, and that's what burnout is at the end of the day. So I need to give my brain the opportunity to downshift for a second. And I'll be honest, meditation is challenging for me for a while. So just sitting there and for like, 15, 30 minutes, it's not me. It doesn't work for everybody. If it works for you, great, 100%, keep doing that. But if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't mean all is lost. So a few things that I found out. First of all, I found out that even smaller increments of meditation, of just closing my eyes and concentrating on my breathing, work just as well cumulatively. So instead of doing 15 minutes at once or 30 minutes at once, I do 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, and I do those several times throughout the day. And guess what? My brain gets to shut down. And if you ever meditated, you know it's not that easy, right? You're going to start thinking about your breathing, and then your brain is going to race into, oh, I think I need to do that, and I need to do that, and I can't forget to do this or that. And the reality is that I need to kind of guide it gently back into concentrating on my breathing. And there's a certain anxiety that almost comes with it, right? Because you don't want to forget those things. But really what I found out is the more I let my brain relax and rest and recover, then those things that I thought I shouldn't forget will come back to me. Maybe not immediately after meditation, but they'll come back to me sometime throughout the day because I'm clearer now. My brain can think clearly. And not only do I remember to do those things, I have the ability to do them right. So meditation certainly helps me with that. The other thing is just break your scenery. So I wrote something about it and in a recent post, and I also shared with my coaching clients. I started going kayaking and using that as a breathing opportunity. And what I mean by breathing opportunity, obviously we breathe all the time, but what I mean by breathing opportunity is the fact that I am out there and just concentrating on inhaling and exhaling as I stroke in a row, and the benefits are the same as if I was just sitting at home with my eyes closed and meditating. There's a lot of research also supporting that the water, the sounds, and the motion of the water help as well. So there's a lot of benefits to that. Just getting in nature, right? Go for a hike. But those are all mental breaks that your brain needs. Don't take your phone with you. Don't check messages. The idea is that you really let your brain disconnect and let it do its thing. So we talk about exercise, we talk about medication. Having a support system, I mentioned that certainly if you are already at a burnout state, but even if you're not there, and arguably, especially if you're not there yet, having a support system you can lean on to prevent burnout to begin with. So people that you can call to say, listen, I'm doing a little bit too much. Can you take this off my plate? So this is where your team or your colleagues are going to come in. A family that supports you. I'm very fortunate. My spouse always checks in and she says, what can I do to help? And oftentimes it's just ancillary stuff. It's like, hey babe, can you make sure dinner is ready tonight because I won't have time, and that's one less thing I have to stress and think about. So small things like that just add up. So have a support system that helps you, and certainly as the stress increases, and build someone you can talk to, you can offload, and you'll be amazed how much better things seem once you just share them with somebody else. If you don't feel comfortable doing it with your significant other or your teams, then certainly consider a therapist to do so. There is for no other reason that they're a good sounding board. I also find as a coach, recently with my coaching client, that they feel comfortable coming to me and venting in a sense. Oftentimes it is a business related question that I can provide them a solution with, but more often not, just them verbalizing it and talking about it and knowing that I'm here to support them is all the help they needed, and now they refocus, re-energize, and they can keep going, and burnout has been averted. So having a support system is important. So if you notice, all those things that we talk about are the part of the 4 pillars of the Silver Savage program, right? So if you follow me at all, and you don't have to be part of my coaching program, but just if you follow at all, you know that I always talk about my body, my mind, right? Relationships and business, and all of those help me prevent burnout. If I stay on top of them, I should be able to stay ahead of the curve because my body's in shape, my mind is clear, my relationships are strong, and when it comes to business, I'm better allocating resources to make sure that I don't burn out on that end as well. So when we talk about business, and again, a lot of our listeners, a lot of my clients are entrepreneurs, so this is specifically for you, delegate. Don't take it all on yourself. As very much an alpha person, as very much somebody that started a business for nothing and used to do everything by myself, it was hard to learn to let go. I understand that, I get it, but you have to do it. You will not be able to grow if you don't do so. You're just limiting yourself. There's only so much capacity that you can do on your own. I don't care how much of a Superman you think you are. And at some point, you're going to reach that limit. And that would be your bar. That would be your ceiling. You can't go above it. The only way to go above it and to keep growing is by delegating and getting good people to do the work for you or with you. And that frees you to do other things. And guess what? It takes some load off. And by taking that load off, we're preventing burnout. So that is all very important as well. Now, if you're a solopreneur, you just work for yourself, you work on your own, then just understanding what's important and what's not. First of all, there's still things you can delegate by automating, right? Virtual assistants and stuff like that. But sometimes, even as a solopreneur, I caught myself doing a lot of stuff that was not needed or not required. It was just overcomplicating processes for no need. So just do a quick check and see, is this needed? Is this the most efficient way of doing so? And if not, correct that. The last thing I'm going to leave you, and arguably probably one of the most important ones and the one that we neglect the most, is doing periodic checks on ourselves. Just essentially a self-audit, a self-assessment. Going and saying, okay, are my goals still the same or have they changed? Because if I'm working towards a goal and I feel like I'm heading towards a burnout, but my goal is not there anymore, I lost my passion or something else came up that interests me more, then being in tune with that and be able to divert attention will certainly help burnout a lot, right? Making sure I'm still aligned with everything, make sure that my schedule reflect whatever my new goals or my new alignment is. So if I find that I am spending a lot of time on tasks that do not benefit me, then obviously I need to readjust things, because otherwise I'm spending all this energy and time on something that doesn't benefit me, and then I'm trying to do on top of that the stuff that I want to do, and then over time, again, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and I don't care what you do, who you are, where you're from, you're not going to get any more time. So adjusting schedules to make sure that they reflect my true goals, my true needs, my true abilities is super important. And very often we go about our lives and we don't reassess that. We don't do a quick audit and see, okay, where are we now? And are we still in alignment with the direction we wanted to go? And are my schedules reflecting that? So make sure you do that. And last but not least, the obvious one, sleep. I feel like it's a cat calling the kettle black type thing, because I certainly have my own struggles with sleep, but I certainly learned to prioritize it, and I'm taking the steps I need to take to improve it. Actively looking for solutions, because I understand the importance. I understand that if I don't sleep, I don't operate to the same capacity, and that's where burnout really happens, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally. So we just got to make sure that we get enough rest. For me, one of the solutions was actually taking naps throughout the day. So even a 5 minute nap. If I am traveling from one meeting to another and I have some time, I'll kind of recline my seat in the car, put the AC on, put some soft music, and set an alarm and pass out for about 6 minutes. My wife and my kids have seen me at carpool. If I'm looking at a watch and say, oh, there's still 15 minutes till the kids come out, I'm gonna go take a nap. And I literally climb my seat and I am out in seconds. My wife is amazed. She's like, I can't believe you fell asleep that quick. But then I'm up before the kids even come in the car and everything is good to go. Those little periods of rest actually do wonders for me. And there's a lot of research to support it. It's probably not as perfect as getting good uninterrupting sleep, like good REM sleep at night, but it is a second best, no doubt. So it's better than not getting it at all. So certainly make sure you get enough rest. Prioritize it throughout the day, prioritize it at night. Make sure you have a nighttime routine that supports it, and your what we call sleep hygiene, and make sure that you are staying well rested throughout the day. So hopefully this was helpful for you. Just a short one today about burnout, but again, I got several questions, actually more than several. A bunch of people were asking me about it, so I figured this was timely. As I said, I'm super excited for our guests that are coming up next week and the following weeks. In the meantime, if you guys don't mind, again, please share it, comment, please tag us in post. If you find any value in this, let other people know. It's a free resources. People don't have to pay for this. You don't have to be a part of my coaching group in order to benefit from it. So if you don't mind doing that for me, that would be greatly appreciated. And follow all social media channels. So certainly the Silver Savage, at Silver Savage Coaching on Instagram. Same thing on YouTube, and my personal one, BK Battle Ready. So if you don't mind doing that, that would be also greatly appreciated. Till next time, stay savage.